travel was real interesting.
Oh, okay. The plane was great. Connections in Fort Lauderdale were great.
It was pretty smooth. It was an easy flight. We fly into Florida, and then it's just a 2-hour flight into Haiti.
'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again.
I lost my heart on the 747, halfway to heaven, passing opening wine. Her looks were smart, I met her in the aisle, she gave me her smile, I knew a future to enjoy.
And then when we flew in, it was really nice because it was a small airport and we were kind of greeted, with the Haitians playing their music,
And then there was the band. The band is just before you walk into the
I
terminal.
remember this one guy was playing the castanets. Oh, he was good. I've never seen a castanet player like that.
The roads are just crazy. There's no stop signs, there's no stop lights. You just kind of blend in. You've got people on top of buses, and it was an experience. Definitely different than what we're used to. But at the same time, never felt threatened or anything like that. We always felt safe, especially when we first got there. We didn't feel like there was anything that happened to us. Well, we were there to build a fence around the property that they'd purchased.
We all had our jobs, and so I was part of the construction team, as it were, like, 2 of us. So, and we knew what was going on. You have to build a wall first around your property in Haiti before you start building anything else, by and large, because, there is theft there and stuff. It's a third world country. People are desperate.
The work on the property of the church itself, I was amazed at how the people needed to bend rebar by hand, and they built a structure out of branches from trees found on the property there to lay the rebar down, to bend it, and they tie everything together, and that's what they put in the wall to pour the cement around. I had never seen people bend rebar by hand using a homemade structure.
And then some people were trying to, cut down the sugar cane to clear the land out, and then to set up wire to build up a fence. And then they were also preparing a tent for us so that we could hold our vacation Bible school, and to prepare that so that Selim could have his first service.
There was a farm there that processed chickens. Yeah, I think his goal was to show that the land there is useful, with proper care.
It's amazing how many children came out. They would come out of the bushes. I mean, it was a in the countryside, and you see a little hut here and there, and a little house, and maybe a kid or two playing outside or something. But when it was time to start the vacation Bible school, they would literally be coming out of the bushes. But they'd come out of the bushes, and there would be 100 kids there of different ages, and they would segregate them into different age groups, and teach them Bible stories and that type of thing, and teach them these new songs.
And one of my favorite things was watching the kids just up here. You look around the property, it looked completely empty. Out behind, I never saw any homes way out across the field there. And all of a sudden, time for Bible Club, and they start coming. And they're coming through the sugar cane. You see their little heads coming through. All the kids came. And it was amazing to give them hope, through what the Bible says God's plan is for them. That was an amazing thing.
And they ate their meal there. And for a lot of these kids, that was their only meal that they even were served. And that basically consisted of rice and beans and some chicken.
And so we would put on an event like a Bible school, vacation Bible school, and you'd start off and maybe 30, 40 kids would be there. And then all of a sudden they'd just start coming and coming, a constant stream of kids coming in. And these guys that we had are helping us were so awesome with these kids. They were playing with them. They made them feel really loved and welcomed. And so one of the things I've really noticed is how these guys who were brought up in an orphanage have become such strong individuals and so willing to help. They were just awesome. I just can't say enough good about them. I compare it when I think about the kids that we have here, where you can't get them to put down their iPhones or you can't get them to really jump in. And these guys were so animated and so willing to do whatever needed to be done.
And all of a sudden, all these kids come running over thinking, they're here, the Americans are here, we get to do another Bible fair. They were just like hungry little sponges, just wanting to soak it up. It was amazing because we were only supposed to have 100. That first day, we had like close to 180 kids. And then the second day, we even had more. Our total number was like close to 300. Had to use like the second Bible studies camp stuff almost during the first day or the first 2 days to give out to everyone. We had a Bible study, told the story of David and Goliath. They acted it out. And she had different masks, and they did role playing, and they told the story, and we had our translators with us. They sang songs in Creole and English. It was just amazing.
And they had this big parachute, a nylon kind of rainbow colored parachute that was probably about, I'm going to say, 20 feet in diameter. And the kids would all grab an edge and be all in a circle. And then they would try to bounce a ball, like a soccer ball, up in the air. And then the leader of that particular team would throw another ball in there, and then they'd try to bounce two of them, letting it go slack and then pulling back on it, letting it go slack and pulling back on it. And they had more fun with that. And then the other part of it, one kid would let go, and then he'd have to run through before the parachute came down on him, and run through the other side as fast as he could.
But we were playing a lot of games, and because we were breaking them up into 4 different groups, and you have a group over here getting a story time, and a group over there singing, and a group over there doing something, doing little crafts, and then you had the parachute. And all the kids are looking over at that parachute because that's where they want to go, because they were having so much fun, and you'd hear this laughter and screaming, and I don't think they get a lot of happiness there. So when they get it, boy, do they run for it.
We were kind of connected in with an orphanage that Commando Chapel has been helping for a long time. From that orphanage, they learn English. And so our translators came almost totally from that orphanage. Not quite, but most of the things were there. They're competitive as far as, they play what they would call football. We call soccer here. And we went and saw a game between a couple of teams right from the orphanage there, and boy, they are hardcore football players and just loved it, right?
We had games, like a parachute game that they did. We did different relay races. All the kids were well behaved. They just kind of sat waiting for us to start up. They were better behaved, and I taught school in the States, and I've taught special ed, I've taught everything. These kids were more appreciative and more well-behaved just waiting, and just so filled with gratitude for whatever came. We took the boat to Friendship Island, and the boat that we were on almost like what you would see for those people who have gone to Disneyland and went on the Jungle Cruise. Maybe Disneyland had used for many, many, many years and finally said, okay, well, we're just going to junk this boat. And Haiti got it.
The guy running the motor, little outboard, and I asked him how big it was, and he was so proud of it. And he said, I own the outboard motor. So he is the one driving the boat. He did not own the boat, but the boat owners, the tour people, hired the outboard motor guy to come. And he had this 15 horse outboard motor, and we're going through the Caribbean and out to this Friendship Island being powered by a 15 horse, and these people were so grateful.
We got on a boat, we went out to this little island, and it was gorgeous. I mean, because you're in the Caribbean. You don't realize you're in the Caribbean because you're in Haiti, but you get on that little boat and all of a sudden you're in paradise, and the water is crystal clear.
At the direction of the tour leader, told us to go out in that direction and swim out there so far, about 100 yards or so from shore. And we would see these cannons, these cast iron cannons that fell off the boat when the boat, got shipwrecked out there in a storm or something.
There was like sunken cannons and cannonballs down there that you could see that had probably been there for 150, 200 years.
And they treated us like royalty. They had the snorkel gear. I'd never been snorkeling before. That was delightful. And we saw some from an old shipwreck. We'd heard about a shipwreck. Cannonballs and an anchor and these other little cage things and all the relics from a shipwreck, and a cannon down there.
It was kind of interesting because you're there for a while and you're thinking, okay, what are we going to eat? And all of a sudden these guys start coming in and they've been out there fishing and they've got 15 lobster and all these different fish, and you just pick what you want.
There were some fishermen that saw this tour boat going. So they apparently all hopped in and they went fishing, and then they brought us crab and lobster that we could buy, and they cooked it on the beach board. It is the best lobster I've ever had. It was what a delightful day.
What Selim did is he picked the darkest spiritually darkest place in Haiti, and he's planting a church right in the middle of that. He's going to be a light in the darkest area. What a perfect idea. But the people don't have money to build a church. I mean, they could donate a few pennies, but it's going to take forever. I mean, a block, one concrete block probably costs a couple dollars there. And steel is very expensive because they don't have steel mills there. They can't make it. They import everything, and so donations are going to go a long ways in building that church, which will be a light to the community and to Greater Haiti. The mission is that they're going to teach people about Jesus, spread the gospel. They're going to train them in the gospel, and those people will want to go out into the surrounding areas and do the same thing. And there's missionaries doing that already, but not here.
Well, the main project that we're doing down there is we're building a church, and so we've been working down in Haiti since 2001, and this was our first. We finally got the land for them, and even though they don't have the building, we set up a tent, and that was the first church service in our own church. And by our own, I mean Camino Chapel helped do this, and this was the first service. And so that was really exciting.
So I love the people that stay. As we just come and go, that's a little bit more difficult. But people that maybe come back regularly, that people from Camino Chapel have done that, and the people that stay, the new pastor there, Selim, and his wife Harley, Selim's heart is to provide a church where people feel safe to come. He said that people don't come to church if they don't have good enough clothes, and there's some people that can't afford good enough clothes, and he said, our church is going to be different. We're going to teach that it's not what you wear. It is not what you don't have to perform in a certain way. Our church is going to be a church where all people are welcome to come. and to help build that church and that community will be amazing.
One of the things that I learned is how far a little bit of help takes these guys. We do something called dice loans, and they're these little tiny $2,000 and $3,000 loans that you can give one of these kids down there, and it's not easy to get. They have to really show what they're going to use the money for. They've got to research it. They've got to show their business plan, and how hard they will work for that money, that little bit of money that they get, and how they can turn it into a business. And they want to work down there. They are fully involved in what they're doing because they have nothing. It's shocking to drive down the street there and see these brick hovels that they live in, and that's their home. And it's a one-room little thing. They're cooking outside. And so when they have an opportunity to better themselves and to move forward, they jump on. I was just stunned at how awesome the people are there and how much they want to work and how much they want to grow and learn.
We were fortunate enough to be able to see the dice loan that the church sponsors. And Wadley, we went to his store and he took out a loan. And I believe that they have to come up with 10% of the loan money. And he was loaned like $2,000, and he had to come up with like a business plan of what he wanted to sell.
And we're now getting our first group of people who are paying back their loans, and they're coming back for second loans because they want to add second stores to their floors or their, but you're going to change a life. It's kind of like you can bring them a fish or you can teach them to fish. And we're teaching them to fish. We're teaching them how to change their world. And what I've seen in the times that I've been there and over the last 20 years is that even like Selim, who was the pastor down there, Selim and Harley, Selim came up here, he got his education, and now they're going back. There's a doctor down there at Cheetah Hospital. He went to Pennsylvania. He got his degrees. He's an excellent doctor. He's going back. They're going back home because you want to go back and make your country good. You want to bring it to life, and that's what we're helping them do.
What's the dog say, Rocky? What's the kitty say? What does the pig say?